it's like I do suspect, like, you remember when I mentioned earlier, I had seen the boat in dry dock?
Mm-hmm.
Like, before he took off, I'm thinking with the boat, I'm thinking when I saw the boat in dry dock, it might have been before he ran off. But I'm also, like, I'm wondering if maybe I did see Colleen before she took off as a kid, and I just don't realize it was her. And, I mean, I was a kid, I didn't know any better, but I might have.
Hi, welcome to the podcast, Chalice Paul Disappeared, the true story. Today we have another special guest, somebody who actually is a relative of John Paul Sr. He happens to be his grandson. His name is Conner Secondino. And Conner lives in Indiana. And we spoke a long time ago, briefly, and I tracked him down and talked to him about possibly participating in the podcast, and was more than willing to do so. His knowledge of his grandfather is only from what he's read or what he's heard from certain family members. He's never physically met his grandfather. So let me welcome you, Conner Secondino. Hi, Conner. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I have met him, though, just when I was a really, really young kid.
Oh, you did? Okay. You want to talk about that to start off the bat?
Yeah, like, I mean, the first time the biggest memory I have of him in person was, I remember he came into Indiana for something. I really don't remember what. I was like 4. And I remember my Uncle Mike was there. John Paul Jr. was there. My mom, and I can't for life remember what the party was for, but I remember he came by and out of nowhere he just brought me this giant RC truck that I had never seen before. It's not as tall as I was. But
was it an RC Cola truck?
It was like an RC truck, like a little like a radio controlled monster truck.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the
but no, it's like, that's not the only time I need him. The only other time I can think of was, I know it was after that, like maybe a year later, we went to Florida, and he was letting us use his guest house that he had there, or something like that, or maybe it was his own house, I don't remember. I know it had a pool in it. It had his, like, orange or tan Mercedes in the garage. Looked like a late 90s model, maybe early 90s. But I know he also had his boat in dry dock in time, because I remember seeing the island girl in dry dock one point. He was getting the propeller replaced. And I don't know, I just remember it was massive to see as a kid. The thing was huge. Looked like the size of a Walmart to me.
Yeah, it was, from what I understand, I've heard it was 65 feet, then I heard it was 54 feet. To me, it doesn't make a difference, but the house you were at with the pool, was that in Florida or Georgia?
Huh?
You said you were at a house with a pool, was that in Florida or Georgia?
Florida. So I had been to Georgia, so definitely Florida.
Okay, so that was probably the Merritt Island house. Was it on the beach and water across the street?
I don't remember water across the street. It kind of looked like a suburban area with palm trees.
Oh, okay. So maybe he was renting a place and you guys came to visit. Because I know about the Merritt Island house. We got photos from that, from aerial point of view, and from Google Maps and all. We scoped out the house and it confirmed that it is the house that he owned. That I think your grandma, he put it back in her name after he fled. But
they're cutting out pretty bad now. So I think it got real bad. Hard to hear you. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, okay. I said We know about the Merritt Island house because we got photos via Google Maps and confirmed it with public records. But this house that you're talking about, I'm not sure where that was. Or what part of Florida was that? Was that in northern Florida or the Florida Keys, maybe?
I remember it wasn't far from the beach, but I'm not sure where in Florida. I don't know the city. I don't know the street. Just, I know that there was like some palm trees in the street, and I remember the neighbor kids fun to talk to. That's really all I got to go on, to be honest.
Oh, you were young. You're what, 4 years old when that happened?
Sorry, I can't hear you anymore.
I said, were you 4 years old then?
What?
Were you 4 years old then? Wait, how old were you? How old were you? 4 years old?
Oh, like 4 or 5.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, tell me a little bit about your mom, okay? I've heard some really wonderful things about Tanya, that she was just a good girl, and she didn't get involved in your father's illegal activities, but she had a kind of a tumultuous life with him in it during that time before he went to prison. Do you recall any of that? Or just talk about your mom in general. Let's talk about your mom. What's your fond memories of your mom? Your mom passed away from Huntington's disease at a very young age, at the age of 50. And that's devastating in itself. But what's your fond memories as a kid of your mom?
Well, I do remember her, like, occasionally, getting calls from my grandfather, and, again, at the time of the trial, she never told me anything about this. I'm not kidding when I say as a kid, all I knew was that he liked to race cars, and he was racing in the European circuit, and that's it. Didn't know anything else.
Well, she probably did that on purpose, I'm sure. But she probably did that on purpose. But so was there any special outstanding moments you had with your mother when you were a kid?
Repeat the first part.
Was there any outstanding moments you had with your mother when you were a kid, like certain holidays or birthdays or trips together?
Oh, well, we didn't really get to travel a whole lot much, honestly. Like, after we went to Florida, that I mentioned before, that was the last time we ever traveled outside of state. And just kind of just stayed in Hard City in the house, because she can't really drive. She was not exactly the most coordinated person. Yeah, she couldn't have a car. But pretty much we just lived in the house together for like a decade. I remember all the time I would try to tell her that her show sucked and I wanted to watch something else, and I regret that a lot.
That her?
Mostly a lot of... Huh?
No, you said her show? You mean like a TV show she was watching?
I would tell her a lot that the shows she liked to watch sucked. I would try to change channel, and I regret that. There's a lot of things as a child I regret. Seriously.
What about, a rumor has it that you had a lot of pets in the house?
I'm sorry, what? Repeat that? You said something about pets?
Yeah, a lot of animals, a lot of pets.
Yeah, we had like a lot of cats and like one dog. Had 2 ferrets at one point, a couple hamsters. Yeah, so we had a lot of pets growing up as a kid.
Yeah. Did you ever cause a flood in the toilet by trying to flush down a small little object in there?
Huh?
Did you ever? I just heard this. Did you ever cause a flood in the house by trying to flush something down the toilet?
Oh, no, thankfully not. No.
No? Oh, okay. Okay. So that was something that I heard. I just wanted to verify if that was true or not. But
if I did, I don't remember.
Really? Okay.
So I know we had like a lot of animals. I know, like, I she would let me like roam in the city and stuff as a kid. That was kind of interesting when I think about it. Like even at like 6, she would let me ride my bike anywhere in Harvard City. Not necessarily small town though, but just when I think about it now, it's kind of a rare thing to see.
So you were basically independent on your own, driving around on a bicycle?
For the most part, her memory was pretty shoddy. So like she like, for example, like if I got in trouble, like if I got grounded, she usually forgets that I got grounded like a week later. It's really sick all the time.
Well, do you think that was caused by Huntington's disease, why her memory was bad?
Huh?
Do you think the Huntington's disease was affecting her memory?
Yeah, pretty badly.
Yeah, okay. So, go ahead.
She was a really good mom, though. She put all of her time and effort into making sure that I got what I needed and, enjoying my childhood as much as she could help with it anyway. She wasn't bad. I've definitely heard of a lot worse parents than her belief that. But I don't know how she put up with me, frankly, to be honest. When I look back at the stuff I did, I feel I would not have blamed her the slightest if she had put me up for adoption. But that's me.
Well, I guess you didn't have a father growing up. Your father passed away at a young age, correct?
Yeah, he died before I was 2. And my suspicion is we moved away from Florida when I was a toddler because of that. But I'm not sure. Never asked my mom, to be honest.
But he passed away in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So you left Florida after he died, or?
As a toddler, I have no memory of living in Florida.
Okay. So then she moved.
Vacationing there at one time, sure, but I have no memory of like actually living there, or moving from there.
Because you were too young. And then she left Florida and went back to Indiana.
Huh?
She left Florida and then moved back to Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. And on her final days on Earth, did you spend time with her a lot before she passed away?
Yeah, before she, when she was still conscious and able to talk, usually like stay on the couch, just watch TV. I remember a lot of the times I would try to get her to play video games with me, and she just never would. She would always like tell me I was going to grow out of cartoons one day, but I still haven't.
Well, do you like anime?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a niece that's into that too. Actually, I have 2 nieces that are into that anime. Yeah, they have a big convention here, as a matter of fact. They had one. They have conventions all over the place for people who are into anime. So that you're not the only one. There's a lot of people who like animation.
Believe me, I know I'm not the only one. I think most of my friends have met over various cartoons, not just anime.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So what do you do for a living now, Conner?
As the moment, I'm actually a security guard at the Indianapolis Central Public Library.
Oh, great.
Massive library.
Yeah? So you make sure people don't steal books?
Sorry, what?
You make sure people don't steal books?
Yeah. Unfortunately, people still try to, and then the buzzers go off. I don't know why people try to steal books from the library, though, honestly, because they don't charge for them at the library. You have a card, and they have a limit of 60 books. They make their money off of late fees and events and stuff. They actually don't charge you for the book, though. I don't get why. But we get far worse stuff than just people stealing books, to be honest. It's usually like people are passing out from drugs outside of the library. They have to go wake up a lot of homeless people. They have to tell them they can't sleep and stuff like that. People not wearing their masks because of coronavirus, and they don't want to listen.
to you. Go ahead.
I'm saying there's a children's area in the library. It's like, anywhere from like fresh newborn to 10 years old exclusively. And somebody thought it was a great idea to go in that area and start having sex on the floor. And oh my God, there was so many angry parents. I could not believe it. That made me so mad.
Wow. So, what'd you do? You picked him up and kicked him out?
Yeah, we had to call the police. The police came and arrested them. Had to kick him out of the library, obviously. But that's probably the craziest story I've seen there. They weren't even trying to hide behind anything. They just right there on the floor in front of everybody.
Wow. Was there somebody with a camera on them?
I don't know. If they did, it was really well hidden. But I know the public library's cameras definitely got them, but not that you need it. There was like 100 people there.
Well, that makes for an interesting day, to say the least.
Yeah. I'm not exactly a fan of this job, to be honest. I'm tired of dealing with this stuff.
Well, as long as it pays the bills, that's all that matters. So, have you had a chance to see your uncles at all over the years?
Yeah, not very often. I occasionally will try to message John Paul Jr.'s page, but this is really the only method of even contacting him now is Helper manages his page. I'll just see how he's doing sometimes, but I don't really get to talk to him much. He's not, very capable of communication very well, and if he is, it's very, very, very hard for him.
So
I know he's doing a lot of experimental procedures for the Huntington's disease research stuff, and I think that might be why he's still even here. To be honest, I'm not surprised. My mom passed in her 50s, and it's kind of what I was expecting for most people with Huntington's, but here she is, her older brother, still alive, surprisingly, barely hanging on, sadly.
So you don't have a way of calling him to just have him pick up the phone and talk to you, or you have to go through a social media to talk to him, if you're lucky?
Usually I just do social media. He can't really talk that much anyway. It's really mostly just typed communication.
Okay, so it's harder for him to talk now. So he types it, and Darlene, his caregiver, she just translates to you, basically?
Huh?
His caregiver, Darlene, does she just transfer the information? Gotcha. Okay. What about your other uncle?
Huh?
What about your other uncle? You talk to him at all?
My Uncle Mike?
Yeah.
Sometimes, more recently lately than as a child. As a kid, he pissed me off a lot. And I was getting really tired of him. He's kind of an alcoholic. He'll spread the truth lies, especially drunk, because it seems like he's always drunk. I recently tried talking with him, but he still gets drunk a lot. But he's trying to get by. Poor guy. I feel like he could get a lot more help done in life if he just would put down the bottle, to be honest.
Well, some people... Go ahead.
Huh?
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was just saying, he means well. He really does. He can have a temper fly off the handle or say some really stupid things sometimes when he's drunk.
So, you think he's more like his father in that regard?
I suppose. I haven't really ever seen my grandfather drunk or even angry. I mean, that's not surprising. I've only seen him for I don't know, maybe a grand total of 5 days worth of my life.
Right.
That doesn't surprise me.
Did you know your mother's side of the family, Joyce McGoggy, did you get to know any of her side of the family?
No, not really.
No. Okay.
Oh, not very much. Most of the family I know is on my dad's side, actually, and I only found out about them because my aunt on my father's side contacted me when I was in college, mentioning I had a bunch of cousins and stuff, and wondering how I was doing. And it was weird, just suddenly contacted out of the blue by a relative like that, but I've been keeping up to date with her a lot.
Yeah? What's her name?
Huh?
What is her name?
Carol Wall. She's real nice.
Yeah.
I've been going over to Connecticut for Christmas with her, my family on my father's side every year since then.
Well, that's great. So you got new family members. You have new family members that came into your life. Well, that's great.
But my mom's, my family-wise, growing up as a kid, there really wasn't a whole lot of it there. It was Uncle Mike that I saw most. Yeah, he was an alcoholic. Actually, a funny thing about Mike is, I ended up trying beer when I was 4, when we were moving away from Muncie to Hartford City at the time, because I kept pestering him wanting to try it. I wouldn't leave him alone. I annoyed him so much that he must try it. And that is how I know beer is absolutely disgusting today.
Oh, beer. Okay. You're talking about beer?
Yeah, it's like I found out it's just utterly disgusting at age 4.
Wow. So you know.
Boy, how do you drink this stuff?
Yeah. Well, it's an addiction. You know, everybody has their vice of what they like. As far as wine and spirits or beer, I have a cousin who's a beer alcoholic, and I knew some people who are beer alcoholics. It's not good on your liver, that's for sure, like any alcohol, but it's the carbonation that actually gets you in the end, because it goes through a process and it is carbonated. It's the same thing with sodas. I don't drink sodas for that reason, and my body doesn't adjust well to carbonation, even champagne. I can get a terrible hangover from champagne. So I take it you're not a drinker.
Well, no, I'm not. It's expensive, but if I do drink, it's not to get drunk. It's just because I like to drink in particular. Like, my favorite thing is rum chata next to Fireball. That stuff is great. But a bottle of Fireball is like $40, and a bottle of rum chata is like $20. And I don't know. It's just kind of expensive.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, no, I was going to ask you, as far as getting back to your what the podcast is about Chalice, who used to be married to John Paul Sr. You never heard her name before at all? No? No. Never had any knowledge of her whatsoever.
No.
Or Colleen Wood. You never saw the TV shows that came out on her disappearance.
No, but I do suspect. Like, you remember when I mentioned earlier, I had seen the boat in dry dock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before he took off, I'm thinking the boat when I saw the boat in dry dock, it might have been before he ran off. But I'm also I'm wondering if maybe I did see Colleen before she took off as a kid, and I just don't realize it was her. And, I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But I might have. It's just memories are too faint to realize it, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay. So more than likely, he had a place down in the Florida Keys, because that's where the boat was dry docked in Isla Morada. So maybe that's where you remember. And that was when you were older, of course. That would have been around 1999, 2000, probably the year 2000. How old would you have been in 2000, the year 2000?
Born in 1993, so...
Okay. So seven years old. Right. So you have a little bit more of a memory than you do at 2 and 4, that's for sure. But, yeah, more than likely that's your memories of a house or something. Maybe he was renting a house down there at the time, because that's where the boat was. Yeah. So, would you ever want to talk to him?
My grandfather?
Yeah.
I would, but I would want to do it in a public setting. I have a lot of questions for Guy, but I'm not exactly trusting of him. You know what I mean?
Okay. But you have another, I guess it would be an aunt, a couple of aunts. That was AJ, who's the half-sister of John Paul Jr. and Michael Paul. Have you ever met her at all? They had the same father, but not the same mother.
The only family members that I at least remember meeting, at least by name anyway, is my Uncle John, Mike, my grandfather that we're talking about, and that's really about it for as a kid. Wait, no, that's why. There was someone else. I can't remember her name. I want to say she was my aunt. I can't remember her name. There was this one old lady who lived in a house in Hartford, and her husband had diabetes or something. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name at all.
And what about Patricia, Trish Paul? That was John Paul Jr.'s former wife.
Huh?
Patricia, Trish Paul, you don't remember her? She used to be married to John Paul Jr.?
Yeah, I do remember her, but I don't remember her very well. I don't even remember her name.
Yeah.
I remember there was this blonde lady that lived with him, and I remember his kids. I don't remember any of them by name. I just remember them by face.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a boy and a girl with him. Well, I happen to get to know her because she lives here locally. She's a very nice lady. And, she suffered a lot by the crimes of your grandfather, I believe. And, it's hard. It's hard to swallow when you know something is wrong and somebody did something wrong, but yet you feel compelled not to say anything because out of fear or because you could make yourself complicit to something. And that's what I feel has happened most with the family, that they just didn't want to come clean because they would think that they would be complicit to his crimes. In other words, they benefited from it financially or in some other way. But do you believe that your grandfather could be responsible for the disappearance of Chalice Paul and Colleen Wood? These two women, his former wife who's been missing, allegedly last seen with him, the same with Colleen Wood.
Well, from the story I'm told and the evidence show, it definitely sounds like it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I would hope, I hope by some strange miracle that they just turn up out of the blue, but I really doubt it. As sad as it sounds like they both are in the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
Right.
I hate to say it. That's just what it seems like.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the conclusion for most people.
It's unfortunate, but she's probably got concrete boots on her somewhere.
Yeah, well,
I know they haven't exactly found either of them yet, but still, the whole him taking using their calling cards and stuff, that sounds really, really suspicious.
Well, hopefully this podcast is going to help shine some light and get the truth out there, and maybe somebody will pick up this cold case, and Chalice's is 40 years old, and now Colleen's is 20 years old cases, and it's very difficult to get law enforcement enthused about a case that old, but you never know. And I mean, how would you feel if your grandfather was brought back to the state of Florida to stand trial for this?
Again, I don't know him that well, so I wouldn't really feel much. I would, to be honest, it just would like to ask him questions, but again, in public before, getting stuff in the ocean myself.
That's funny that you're not the first person I heard this, that you still have, they have fear for him, and you didn't even know him, but you have some sense of fear with him. It's amazing that he could have that kind of power over somebody's psyche, and after all these years and being so far away. Do you think he's in Thailand still?
I have no idea. I know that's the last place I heard from him. I remember, 2009, he called my mom on a phone call, and it was weird because we hadn't heard from him in a decade, and I guess he was just trying to follow up with mom and see how things have been. I said hi, curious how he was doing. He was in Thailand at the time, so told us, but yeah, that's the last time I had any communication with him ever.
And he was calling from a phone? From a cell phone?
I don't know what phone. Probably a payphone if I had to guess. That would be a smart move.
Yeah, well, if they still have a payphone these days, I can't find one anywhere in this country.
We have one at the public library, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's weird to see. I know. You don't see the meter. I don't have a meter. I saw it and I was like, holy crap, does that thing work? And they're like, yeah.
That's interesting.
It's still active.
Well, I guess airports still have to have them for people who don't have cell phones, I would think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's just, like I said, I would definitely see, pay attention to the trial, see how it goes. Pretty sure I know how it would go, to be honest. But, yeah, I would have a lot of questions for the guy if I could in person. I don't know. I'd ask him, obviously, where the heck they went, if he knew anything. But he probably wouldn't answer. He'd probably say that they ran off. That'd be my guess, like he told everyone else.
Right.
But, I'd be curious to know, why he did it. Why he never really kept up with us very often still. And why I was, kept in the... just trying to figure out his side of the story, pretty much. Even though it's not great. But I'm just the kind of person that likes to know all sides before I make my judgment. Even with close friends, I do the same thing. Something happens, I like to know everyone's side of the story. I'm not biased to anyone in particular.
Well, sounds like you'd make a great police officer, because that's what they all say. There's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth.
Yeah.
That seems to be their line, even though your side of the story is true, and the other side is false, but they still have to be diplomatic and say, no, we go down the middle. We'll take a little bit from this side, a little bit from that side. Well, listen, it was really a pleasure to talk to you. And I didn't know where this conversation was going, but I'm glad you contributed to what you remembered and gave your take on things. And stay in touch with your dad's side of the family. I think that's very healthy for you, that you have an extended family there and you get to know him. Did they ever discuss with you about his passing or anything? I mean, where is he buried? In Florida? Or did they...
My father passed away in Florida, and they tell me I sound an awful lot like my father. What I am constantly told about him, from them, is how scarily similar I am to my father. They say it reminds them of every time I talk. Obviously, I have no idea because I don't have any memory of him, but that's what they told me. That he was a jokester, like the pole tricks and stuff, and was very good with his hands. But no, I didn't get to meet him much. But they just contacted me when I was in college because they said they thought my mom maybe didn't want me communicating with my dad's half of the family for some reason. I guess this whole time they were waiting until I should have been 18 to find me. So that was interesting. I'm like, you guys should have contacted me earlier.
Yeah. Well, sometimes this is a safe way to make sure they don't stir the pot with, mixed emotions. On your mother's side of the family and with your mom. So that was respectful, but it's a shame that you lost 18 years of an extended family as well. But you can make up for lost time, because if they're willing to be a part of your life, let them be a part of your life, for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, listen, it was really a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm sorry for the delay. We had a problem with our software here, but we still got your interview in. And we'll let you know when your segment's going to be up and running, and we'll send you a link to that. And if you're ever in Florida, just give me a call. If you're ever down here visiting, I'd love to meet you sometime.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to help somewhat.
Yeah, no, you did, definitely. And just stay healthy and stay safe, Conner, okay?
Okay.
All right. Take care. We'll be in touch. All right.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Was it an RC Cola truck?